this is Review Hunter here, bringing you guys another review. I kind of wanted to talk about My First Girlfriend is a Gal, episode 9, My First Fight. There's a couple things I want to talk about with this anime, particularly. I did not anticipate that this anime was going to be so good. I thought that this anime was going to be terrible, like some of the other animes in the past seasons where you see the potential, you see the style of animation, and the first thing you kind of get excited about is the fan service, and then they do really heavy censoring. Now that's not like the worst problem in the world, so long as the show doesn't place a heavy emphasis on fan service and then have the gall to really go to the extreme to block out the censorship. And what I mean by that is, if every other shot in the anime is going to be an upskirt or focusing on the boobs or a shower scene or something crazy like that, and then you have this giant censorship emblem that blocks out the majority of the screen, then you really distract us from the story, and you really take away the opportunity for those of us who enjoy looking at the fan service from being able to enjoy it. If the anime is what it is, either allow it to exist or don't put it up on the website that I pay subscription fee for. If you're gonna censor the show to the point where there's nothing to see, don't put it on the website. And anyway, I thought that that's where this show was going, but surprisingly and fortunately, that isn't where this show is going at all. This show has been a great story about this guy who is a part of your basic band of geeks who is a total loser, total virgin, and he shoots his shot with this girl who is what they're calling gals. And I think that's their way of really pointing out like the really fast hipster girls in the anime who always wear their hair in like an updo, either with a really good tan or either with a lot of makeup and crazy hair. They just really look like fast and loose type women. I think that the main heroine of this story, Yano-san, I believe that's what her name is. She basically seems like that's the kind of character she's going to be when the main character tries to talk to her. But it turns out that she's actually very innocent, very sweet, and very vulnerable. And so I think Ranko, her friend, kind of rubs off on her, and she kind of takes on that persona because that's who her close friend is from childhood. She seems to be very gullible, very emotional, very sensitive, and she can be a complex character at times. But anyway, point is, there's a legitimate relationship developing between the main character and the main heroine. I typically don't like the main character to be someone who's very weak and emotional and scary. But somehow it's not pushed to the extreme in this anime to the point where it's not enjoyable. And so the relationships develop, and it's a very funny, light-hearted anime. There is a bit of drama in there, but not too much. It's mostly just kind of something entertaining to watch when you're on a season where there's not a lot of things going on, really, with the exception of a few shows, of course. And in this latest episode, let me get to it. You have a situation where the main character sees his girlfriend talking to another guy, very good looking, very attractive, charismatic guy, and she's going out of her way, hanging out with this person who she knows from middle school in front of her boyfriend, all talkative and sharing stories and talking about how good he looks, and he's asking her to go out with him, and meet up later and catch up with like old times. And she's like, yeah, I'd love to, blah, 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 blah. And at the very end of this very awkward situation where the main character is sitting in the back watching his girl talk to another guy, basically like getting cuckolded, she finally turns around and says, hey, this is my boyfriend here. And so the dynamic, the web has been cast, the main character being like the chump that he is, he never really steps up. He waits for the girl to introduce him, And even then he goes on and brings up how insecure he felt, and felt as though maybe she would be embarrassed. And so he started getting ahead of himself, and that's two things that really don't mix. When there's a girl who's really just oblivious and gullible and just unaware of male emotions and male bravado and what's appropriate and not appropriate in a relationship, she's going out here and being very social and interacting with a lot of other guys. Now, most guys like me, I'm not gonna deal with that. You already know, if you're my girl, you're not gonna be out here jumping up and down on some other guys. Well, I'm not gonna deal with that. So you're gonna know up front that you're not gonna have any kind of relationship with any kind of guy that I deem to be, problematic. And if you're not okay with that, then that's cool. You're an adult. You carry on with your life. I'll carry on with mine, and we don't have to be in a relationship together. And I have the same rule with my wife. If she doesn't think that another woman has appropriate intentions or desires about me, then she'll let me know, and then I'll disassociate with that person, or at least limit my interactions with that person. I'm not gonna go out with that person behind my wife's back, or even in a situation where I'm alone with that person. And that's exactly what Yano does in this anime. And she was making it very easy for a character like the main character in this show to be very insecure about their situation. And so, they have a falling out, and it gets to the point where you would almost think that they might be about to break up. And sure enough, the guy in the cafe at the end of the episode, spoiler alert, I probably spoiled this whole episode for you. He's sitting there talking about, oh yeah, I love girls with boyfriends, especially these gals, like they're extremely gullible. Once I'm done with her, I'll pass around to my guys here, and y'all can all have fun with her after I'm done with her. Blah blah blah, and it looks like the main character is about to step up and really give it to this guy. Hopefully in the next episode we get to see a little bit of action. Maybe somebody gets punched in the face. I don't know. It's kind of out of character for this anime so far, but you never know. It's the final episode, and this anime has been pretty good so far. I really was about to drop this anime based on the first episode. If you look on Crunchyroll and you see the number of stars that this episode has, this episode only seems to have, this anime in general seems to be rated. It was rated really low at first, but it seems like the stars have really turned around. And so basically people really continued to watch the show, gave it a chance, and they didn't write it off like the 7 Mortal Sins or whatever from the last season, the censorship city that nobody wanted. You could hardly even watch the show with so much censorship everywhere. It's like, am I watching a censored, just put up a still image of a censorship sign, and that'll be basically what this show is. So, that's how I feel about when anime is ruined by excessive censorship. Like, what are you doing? And for anime reviewers like for Neverworld, if this ever gets back out to you, man, just don't talk about an anime if you don't like fan service. You don't like fan service, you don't have to watch it. You don't have to come on and trash every anime that has anything to do with fan service and call it porn and all the blah 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 blah. Dude, give it a rest. We get it. You're sensitive. You just stick to shonen, or whatever. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the matter. This video's going on too long. This is Review Hunter. I'm out.